Good evening and welcome to Coeur d'Alene City Council for April 18th, 2023. Call this meeting to order, and the clerk will note that all present except Councilor Miller, who is excused. We don't have an invocation tonight, and so we'll move right to our Pledge of Allegiance. Dan, would you please lead us in the pledge?
I certainly will. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, are there any amendments to the agenda? Seeing none, we have several presentations. First of all, we have a proclamation for Arbor Day. And I'm going to read some of that proclamation, and then we'll have Nick come up and say a few things. I'll read the proclamation first, Nick. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees, and whereas this holiday, called Arbor Day, was first observed with the planting of more than 1 million trees in Nebraska, whereas trees can reduce erosion to our precious topsoil and by wind and water, lower our heating and cooling costs, moderate temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife. Now, therefore, I, James Hammond, Mayor of the City of Coeur d'Alene, do hereby proclaim April 28th, 2023 as Arbor Day, and I urge all citizens to join in the celebration of Arbor Day and to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands. Nick, you want to come up? I want to present this to you. Thank you for your work as a forester. And go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you, sir.
You have 1 minute.
I should only take a little, maybe a minute and a half. How's that? I will do my best if my presentation will open. Okay. So, thank you, Mayor and Council. It is an honor to be here. As you have already been told, I'm here to talk about Arbor Day. We are going to be celebrating Arbor Day this year on Friday, April 28th. Here's a little picture from last year. These are the group of kids that helped us plant about 8 trees at the Pocket Park in Coeur d'Alene on Sherman Avenue.
For what it's worth, there's no slides.
Oh, forgive me. I may have some technical difficulties.
We can just imagine.
Just imagine I can spin my note. Well, I'll just talk through this. So, couple notes. We have one recognized as a Tree City USA for the year of 2022. It's our 39th year as a Tree City USA here in Coeur d'Alene. This program has been in place since 1985, our urban forestry program. Last year, we planted 355 public trees. We had 101 public trees removed, and 926 public trees were pruned. As mentioned, this year, Friday, April 28th, we're going to be celebrating Arbor Day at Atlas Mill River Park. Tree planting, we're going to plant about 6 trees with some local students, about 20 to 30 local students from Ramsey Elementary. We're going to have coffees for those, coffee? We're going to have donuts for those kids, no coffee for them. We're going to be giving out tree info, and we're going to have a seedling giveaway for all members of the public. Here you can see us planting with some of those kids last year. And so since 1986, we have partnered with the Arbor Day organization of North Idaho. And through this program, once again, all 4th grade students in not just Coeur d'Alene, but all throughout North Idaho are going to receive a seedling to plant at home. And through that program, they have planted over 84,000 trees since the inception in 1986. A few other programs for anyone who wants to attend. North Idaho College is going to do a drive-through seedling giveaway on Saturday, April 29th at the Moldstead Library here at North Idaho College in Coeur d'Alene from 12 to 2. Seedling packing for all of this is happening on Tuesday, April 25th at the Idaho Department of Lands. We have a lot of volunteers, but if anybody's aching to help us, come on down. And lastly, our neighbors over in Spokane have their pretty large Arbor Day celebration Saturday, April 29th at the Finch Arboretum. Can't thank you all enough for continuing to support our urban forestry program and celebrating Arbor Day with us. This just goes over all the details for our Arbor Day, which will be 10 a.m. to noon at Atlas Mill River Park. We can't be a Tree City USA without your support and the public support. So happy Arbor Day, and thank you very much.
Thank you, Nick.
Nick, I have to ask, what seedling is it? What kind of a tree?
Oh, so we have got, oh geez, I didn't come prepared with that,
Oh, I'm
sir.
sorry.
No, we have got, I believe what we have this year are Katsura seedlings. We have some western white pine seedlings that we always give away at Arbor Day, which is our Idaho state tree. We also have, I believe it is a European mountain ash seedling that we're giving away, and tulip tree seedlings.
Eggs,
So, perfect.
no fruit trees.
No fruit trees. Thank you all very much. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Nick. We have a couple of comments from our fire department, and EM Officer Stephen Jones is going to do both of these. Welcome, Stephen.
Thank you. Good evening. There we go. All right, well, good evening, Honorable Mayor, City Council members. Thank you for your time this evening. My name's Steve Jones. I'm your Coeur d'Alene Fire Department EMS officer. I have two presentations tonight that I'm going to be delivering for you. The first item that I would like to present to you is about an incredible accreditation that we, as part of the county EMS system, recently received, and that is our Idaho State Time-Sensitive Emergency Designation. The Idaho State TSE system was created to focus and streamline care for patients experiencing a time-sensitive emergency medical event such as a stroke, heart attack, or significant trauma. Through evidence-based patient care goals, collaborative care approaches, and streamlined processes for care, mortality and morbidity is reduced. The TSE system starts with public education and advances rapidly to definitive care. The goals are simple. Let's get the right patients to the right places at the right time. The Idaho TSE system began with hospitals first, and those were the first that had received TSE designations. Hospital designations allowed hospitals to signify their capabilities and work collaboratively with the time-sensitive emergency system of care. This highly successful onboarding for hospitals led Idaho leaders to embrace the importance of EMS and their part in the time-sensitive emergencies. In 2020, Idaho legislature created a special TSE designation for EMS agencies. In January of this last year, 2023, Kootenai County EMS system was awarded their Idaho State EMS designation. The Coeur d'Alene Fire Department is proudly committed to this ongoing excellence in patient care. As you can see on the screen here on this slide, that we are one of only 3 systems throughout the state of Idaho that has currently been recognized as a time-sensitive emergency agency. What does this mean? Let me give you a little scenario. So let's say hypothetically that there was a really bad car accident and we had a patient that had suffered a pretty significant trauma and was in need of surgery immediately. Our goal is to respond quickly and safely as possible to the scene. As part of meeting and maintaining the TSE criteria, it is additionally our goal to be on scene no more than 10 minutes before we begin transporting. While we're transporting is when we're going to be doing all of our emergency medical treatments on our way to the emergency room. We're notifying the hospitals much sooner now, which is allowing the hospital surgeons to be called out to the emergency room and along with additional staff that might be needed as well to take care for this patient. In the meantime, the hospital is also making sure that critical functions are being met, such as X-ray, CT scans, they're even preventing and holding off certain surgeries so that we can keep an operating room open so that the surgeon can quickly evaluate the patient as soon as we bring them in and then possibly go straight to the surgical suite, not having to wait for another procedure to get done before we can get the trauma patient in. So everyone working collectively together speeds up and eliminates previously wasted time, which in turn increases the survivability of the patients that we're taking care of. So that's where this TSE collaboration comes into play and really makes a difference throughout our communities. So for a little more information, if you're interested, you can go to the Idaho State Department of Health and Welfare's website, and you can look up the TSE in Idaho, and it will give you a little bit more history on what it is and what it does for the communities that we serve. So that was just kind of a quick little brief explanation of this new TSE program that we have been able to become a part of. And then the second part of my presentation is we have something really exciting that we like to do as the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department, and that's recognize citizens within our community that step up and help out in a time of need. And tonight we have with us Mr. Bill Spann. Bill, would you please come up? Eric Loney and Chad Matchell. So I'll read here just what the award says, and it kind of talks about a little bit of a brief history on where Mr. Spann really stepped up, and we would like to recognize him this evening. On the evening of January 5th, 2023, the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department was dispatched to a 911 call at Cricket's restaurant for a report of a 76-year-old male who was choking. The ladder truck and Medic 31 were dispatched to the call. It was reported to 911 dispatch that the individual had lost consciousness and bystander CPR was being performed by this gentleman here. Medic 31, staffed with 2 paramedics, was the first crew to arrive on the scene. Upon arrival at the scene, Medic 31 found that bystander Bill Spann had begun doing chest compressions on the individual who was now lying on the ground. With the lack of initial responders present, because we were busy, like we most often are these days, Mr. Spann was asked by the paramedics to continue doing chest compressions while they began to prepare for further life-saving measures. Paramedics soon took over CPR, but asked him to assist them in retrieving equipment from their gear bags. This extra set of hands provided invaluable, allowing the paramedics to work quickly to save the life of the patient. Therefore, in recognition of this achievement, this certificate is presented on behalf of the citizens of Coeur d'Alene, the Coeur d'Alene Fire Department, its officers, and personnel. So thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much for your work.
Thanks, Bill.
That was wonderful.
Can we get a picture with you, Mayor, real quick? Another tradition that we like to do is we like to give members a challenge coin. Thank you.
Sure.
One more, just one more. Thank you. It's for Chad's wife.
Mr. Mayor, can we make a few comments? Thank you. Steve, real quick before you go? Yes. I just wanted to ask a couple of things. What you just described with what you are now one of 3 in the region, how big is the region that you're talking about?
Let me bring up that slide for you really quick. I think it breaks it down a little bit more. Oop. So honestly, I don't know exactly what the region sizes are. I just know that we're part of Region 1, which is the north. Chief, maybe you?
Be the 6 northern counties.
The 6 northern counties then.
So 3 in the 6 northern counties. You would think that everyone would want this designation, and there's so many things that fire does on its own just to achieve excellence, and we don't know a whole lot about it until you tell us, but
Right.
this is something to really be proud of. So thank you so much for your.
You're welcome.
What a great thing if you are in some kind of trauma that you're prioritized. That's just such common sense. Thank you.
Yeah, and it's trauma, stroke, and heart attacks. So all 3 of those categories are being looked at, and we're treating those much differently, like I described, because we know that time is tissue and time matters, and so not having to wait as long sometimes in the emergency room to receive the proper treatment because of other things going on. With all of us working collaboratively like this, it's streamlining all of those processes and making better patient care outcomes in the end. So
It's awesome. Thank you.
you're welcome. Thank you. Any other questions?
Seeing none others, thank you. Do we have any announcements from council? Christie?
Mr. Mayor, I had actually just mentioned this in an email, that I also wanted to ask the chief of police to come up and describe the report that he sent to all of us, the annual report. He just was going to briefly, if that's okay.
Good evening, Chief.
Good evening, Mayor and Council. I think for me, the most important part of this annual report that we just posted on our website was our crime reduction. And for those of you who haven't heard, last year, the city of Coeur d'Alene only had 728 Part 1 crimes. And that's the lowest number that we've had since we've been tracking those types of things. Not only do we have a lower crime rate, but the total number of Part 1 crimes is lower than it was all the way back in 1999. And that's as far back as our computer systems go. In 1999, we had over 2,000 Part 1 crimes. So the men and women in your police department are doing fantastic work. They've taken kind of our direction of really implementing our community-oriented policing along with our intelligence-led policing models and taking it to the next level. They're doing a fantastic job out there.
Thank you for your leadership in getting us there.
Thank you, chief.
Any other announcements? Woody?
Well, just a quick one. I wanted to thank the street departments, Todd and Chris, for putting up some new stop signs. The one I just caught almost went through it coming into the driveway, but it looks like it's going to slow things down around here. And then over on Howard Street, which has been a long straight shot, and you got flashing beacons coming there also. So it was interesting, and I happened to run into these four-way stops looking at going to the poop distribution thing over the weekend. So it was really interesting. And thank you for doing that. Appreciate it.
I believe Councilman McEvers refers to compost.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did
Compost, yes.
I didn't say the S word, did I?
No, you did not.
Oh, God, good.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Well, before we delve any deeper, consent calendar.
Mr. Mayor, I'd like to move to approve the consent calendar as presented, including Resolution 23025.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Discussion on the motion. Hearing none, will the clerk take the roll, please?
Gookin.
Yes.
English.
Yes.
Wood.
Yes.
Evans.
Yes.
McEvers.
Yes.
Okay, we are on to public comment. Justin, you sure you want to do something tonight? Oh, come on.
Good evening. This is an
You
important one.
realize you're lengthening our meeting tonight.
I'll be quick. As quick as I can. This is important business, though. Good evening, Mayor and Council. Congratulations. We've done it. We've successfully rebranded the secretive nonprofit corporation, which gets approximately $45,000 from the city and $25,000 from the Urban Renewal Agency, which also gets money from the city. Not even a single subject commented on it. Rebrands are an important part of our strategy. Blackwater comes to mind. Also, the Cecil Rhodes Secret Society, the Milner Group, and All Souls. We create a confusing set of loosely connected, overlapping groups. There's the Commission, the Planning Department, the Independent Public Redevelopment Agency, Independent, which features council and staff, and of course, the secretive rebranded nonprofit corporation, which also features council and staff. Thanks to the rebrand, as far as the subjects know, we are now openly taking money from the city taxpayer and sending it throughout the county. A coup d'etat, if you will. Our secretive nonprofit doesn't abide by the open meeting law nor Public Records Act, nor must its financials and other eternals be open to the public. No meeting minutes, no financials, no other internals. You might be wondering how we can call this secretive nonprofit corporation, quote, neutral, considering its board is made up of special interests, real estate agents, developers, city staff, medical industry executives, public accountants, council members, etc. We don't literally mean neutral. Self-appointed, unelected, self-perpetuating, unaccountable to the public, and secretive, just the way central planning likes it. From the outside, it appears as crony capitalism in action. And I mean, by definition, crony capitalism. What, do you expect us to do all of the planning out in the open? If the planning department, under the direction of the planning commission, did all this work, it'd all be public. No way. Speaking of which, I believe in 2016, the secretive local nonprofit corporation created a spreadsheet titled A Return on Investment for the City. Do we still have that? How's that look? Doesn't matter. Burn it. No more spreadsheets. The secretive nonprofit's last presentation, last meeting, was perfect. Mostly feel-good stuff. The only data was the number of people who we taught CPR. That's good. You're going to need that. Finally, I brought this Federal Reserve local housing prices chart. See, it's up and to the right. It's doing great. Central planning is happy with the results so far. Now, in the private sector, somewhere in here, everyone starts losing their jobs and we go to the drawing board. But here's what we're going to do. You can actually just flip the chart upside down, and it looks much better that way, and the subjects will never know. Thank you.
I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Can I get a second?
Second.
No, I want to stay here.
We have motion and second. Seeing no further discussion, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
No.
We adjourn. Motion carries.